Okay, so our next lecture is about package management. So we mentioned like why we learn JavaScript, and there are a lot of reasons why we use JavaScript, why we learn JavaScript. But one of the reason was that JavaScript, like there's a large community of developers using JavaScript, and there are a lot of resources about JavaScript. And also there are also a lot of libraries of JavaScript. Instead of writing every piece of your code by yourself, it would be amazing if you can use other people's code. So it's like libraries in C, but there's a lot more libraries for JavaScript. And they are created by the developers using JavaScript. And they share the code online for free. And you can use their code and build on top of their code. So this is very powerful. So sometimes we may want to use a piece of code to solve a problem. And before you write that, you may search online, like if whether everybody else have already read something similarly. For example, you might be Googling like JavaScript, how do I check if a date is valid? So you might do not know any JavaScript function or method that can check whether a date is valid. So you ask Google or you ask ChatGPT, can you give me a code? And this is the code that they gave you, like import is valid from blah, 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 and then the function and then console log whether the date is valid. So the first idea comes to your mind, maybe you can copy this code and pass it in. So shall we work directly on this untitled project? So so this is our untitled project. So what I'm going to do is to check which branch I'm currently on. I'm going to git check out go back. Okay, let's work on this vegetable branch. And I'm going to create a new file called date JavaScript. And then I can open this date JavaScript file and copy this piece of code. Oopsie. Sorry, what is going on here? Invalid. Okay, so now when I run node.date.js, there will be an error message about this import is valid from this function. So how can I get this date function, which looks pretty like a library? So how can I use this code? So this is the problem that we need to solve. And this is also why we introduced this NPM, which is called Node Package Manager. So it's like a huge library of code that you can use, or libraries that you can use. We call it module in JavaScript. And NPM is a tool that automatically installed alongside Node.js, that you do not install it individually, and it can manage your dependencies, modules, or libraries for Node.js project. And the way, like how we can get those code is there's a website online called NPM. So this is the library. So you can think of it like a library of library that you can use. And we were trying to find where is it? We were trying to find this date function library. So we can copy and paste it here. So search packages, and you can see there's a lot of packages that we can use. And here's an exact match. When we click on it, you can find the repository of the library or the package, some introduction about how to use it, documentations, blogs, examples, and others. They are basically the same things. So here we find this data functions library or package. And to use that, they ask us to install this library or install this package. And they also give us instructions on how we can install the package. So this is the same for other packages. So for example, if we want to play with weather, so we can search weather, and we can also find like weather. So packages are about weather. So this is a weather, is a node module that makes it easier to get the weather for anywhere in the world. So if you want to get a weather from everywhere in the world, maybe you want to use this package. And there are a lot of other interesting packages. So what do you want to know, or what kind of library you potentially want to use? Animals? Animals. So you can see that there's even a package called animals. So somebody wrote a package about animals. And what it can do, it can get animals. But what about if we want to get some random numbers? So instead of writing the code to get random numbers ourselves, maybe we can use others. Maybe somebody else have already read the code so that we can use. For example, random. It's not searching. Search. And there's a package called random, and can get suitable random number generator supported by many common distributors. And they also tell you how to install this package, examples of how to use random, the package, the code they wrote, and some relevant, like how to use that. So you can see that it's very powerful. I found an interesting one yesterday. Yeah, so here's a package called random cat image. So somebody wrote a package getting random cat images. So you can see that we have a large community of developers using JavaScript, and they are contributing to the community, and they are creating these packages that we can build on top of. So yeah, so there are a lot of interesting things that we can do with JavaScript. Okay, so let's come back to our date function. Date function. And to use that, we need to run npm install date function. I copy it, go to my untitled project folder, and I pass it. Can I use directly? Maybe. Yeah, you can see that I did one package. Okay, so now let's try to run this state.js function. However, there's still an error message. Okay, so how can we use npm packages? How we install it, but still doesn't work. So the reason is that to use npm packages, we first need to init a project, like init an npm project, so that we can use npm packages. So we need to set up the environment first, and then we can use the packages. And the way we do it is by using npm init. So running npm init, we set up environment for this untitled project so that we can use other people's packages. Okay, so let's run this npm init. So you can see that it will walk you through creating a package.json file. We'll go back to this package.json file. We'll go back to it. It will only cover the most common items and try to get sensible defaults. Okay, so it asks us, after I run npm init, it asks us to have a package name. Shall we just use untitled project? Yeah. And it asks for a version. So by clicking on return, it will use what's in the bracket as a default. So you do not need to tap yourself. So it gets the name, gets the version for you. But you can also change that by putting, for example, I don't want it to be 100. I want it to be 1.0.1. It's okay. And you can also have a description. So this is an amazing project by COMP1531 24 term 2 students. So this is the project that we created together. So this is the description of my project. And then we can have an entry point. So entry point is the entry point of your project. So in this case, we can say date.js, but we can also say animals.txt or git.txt. And test command, we'll leave it. So this is the Git repository. So this is the Git repository that we cloned from GitLab. And some keywords, authors, also is COMP1531 24 term 2 students. And lessons, is that okay? Yes. Okay, so now when I list all the files in this untitled project, you can see that there are 2 more files created after I run this npm init when I set up the environment for before I can use the packages, the npm packages. And these are the package log JSON file and the package.json file. And there is also one more called note.modules coming up. So these are new, created by npm init. So let's have a look at them so you can have a better understanding of why we need to do them. So this is our untitled projects. So this is the package.json file created by npm init. We'll talk about what is JSON file in our next lecture, so not today. But for now, just have a look at what's inside. So you can see that in this package.json file, it says dependencies, including this date function, because we run npm install date function. Remember that? So this is one of the dependencies. But if we never run npm install any package, it will be nothing here. And the name of this npm project is untitled project. The description is, this is an amazing project by COMP1531 24 term 2 students. And the version is 1.0.1. So this is what I inputted just now. And the main is date.js. And we can also add scripts here. So I will come back to this one later. And this is the Git repository, the URL of our Git repository. And also is us and the license. So this is the package.json file that we created. Right. And another thing that has been added is this note module. So under this note module, you can see that there's a lot of code under this date functions. So these are added by our npm install date function. So now we have all these libraries in this project, so that we can use the other people's code directly. We can call the functions of date functions. Yeah. So this is the package, the node modules, and there's another one called package-log.json file. So in this file, you can see there are much more detailed description of the node modules, the versions, where it is downloaded from, URL. So very detailed information of the dependencies. So why do we need to have this? Okay. So before we explain why do we need to have this, let's first try whether we can now run this date function. Okay, so let's check whether we have already set up the environment properly. So let's come back to here. Let's run node date.js. Okay, so one thing that we haven't changed yet is when we set the environment, we need to add one line in this package.json file. So you can see that this package.json file is not, we can still edit it after we init the project. So we can still add more properties in that. So for our main project and also overlaps, there's one script that we need to add to it is this type module. So after we add this to the package.json file, we can start to run our code. So now when I run, so you can see that this is a true date. So this is a valid date. So we can now run this date function. Oh, sorry, date JavaScript file. So till now, we have set up the environment to use NPM packages. So you may be confused, like why do we need to set up like this huge environment? Like why do we need to have package.json file or even this package.log file? The reason is that you may not be the only one working on this project, right? So you are working as a team. So everyone working on this date.js file or working on this entitled project, they need to have the same environment, right? So they need to install the same version of the packages, right? So that we can avoid issue like saying, it works well on my local environment, but somebody else cannot run it. Because you are working as a team, right? So you need to have the same environment. So it's kind of specify the environment using the package.json file and also more specifically the package.log.json file. So everyone's on the same page. We are using the same dependencies. We are aware of which version of this entitled project we are working on. And like some metadata like description, name, also this kind of metadata of your project. Right? Yeah, so now we are still working locally on my laptop. So I'm not yet collaborating with my team members on this NPM project. So I might not want to push my local repo to the Git remote repo so that other people can collaborate with me on this project. But there's one thing that we need to pay attention to is that you can see that under this node module, nothing was written by us, right? And it has a lot of files. And maybe when you have a very large project, you may install a lot of dependencies. You may use a lot of packages. You may use the random package. You may use the random cat image package and others. So the package or the node module will become larger and larger. So you do not want to push everything to your remote repo. It will cause a lot of memory and other people will need to spend a long time pulling that to their local repo. Because nothing in this node module is written by us. If they can be downloaded by you, they can still be downloaded by your team members, right? So as long as you put the version information properly in this package log JSON file, your team members should still be able to work on the same version, same environment as what you have locally. Right. So to do that, so when we push, if we want to avoid pushing the node module to the remote repo, one thing that we can do is by adding a file called gitignore. So when you add the gitignore file and so it's called .gitignore, and what you can do is you put this node modules and backdash. It means that when you push or git commit, it will ignore this node module. Okay, I will show you how. So now when I check git status, you can see that these are all the files that are only working on my working directory. It's not added yet, not committed yet. So what I can do is, I'm introducing a new git command for git add is git add -- all. So instead of add each file individually, we can using git add -- all to add all the changes together, like moving all these changes to the staging area. So I use git add all and then I git commit -m. Can anyone give me a commit message here? Set up npm and add date.js. And now I can git push put in my key. And now when I check back to my untitled project remote repo here, oh, which branch did we on? Okay, we were on the vegetable branch. Yeah, we were on the vegetable branch. So imagine that we are adding the date function to the animal branch. And you can see that the package log JSON file, package JSON file, date is here. Why my gitignore is here? Oh, gitignore is here. This is right. So everybody will on the same page with gitignore. But the node module, the folder of the node module is not pushed. So although we git add all, we git commit everything, and we git push, but the node module is not pushed to the remote repo. So this is how the gitignore works. Okay. Yeah. So now imagine that I have done my work. Okay. Somebody else, my team members, they now want to pull the changes and add more changes. So they need to set up the environment as what I had on my laptop. So what I'm going to demo is by using Tiger VNC. Remember, Tiger VNC is like another laptop, another computer on a server. So it's different from my laptop. So what I can do is I first try git status first and git branch. It only has main. Git pull, okay, git branch, still main. Yeah, fast forward. So this here. Can I git checkout and then vegetables branch? I switch to this vegetables branch. I git status. You can see that now I've put everything from. Can you see clearly from the back? Is that too small? Yeah, can you see from the back? No? Yes? Yes? Okay, cool. So I'm now on my Tiger VNC, so another computer. Right, I'm pulling everything from the remote repo. So how can I set up the same environment? So the way we can do is by using npm install. So by running npm install, it will get everything from your package.json file and all the version information from the package -log JSON file. So by running git install, you can see that it's uploading, it added the package. So now when you list all the files, you can see that the node module is now added by running npm install. So by running npm install, it will use the information in the package.json file and the package.log JSON file to set up the environment so that everyone will have the same environment to work on the project. And you do not need to upload or push the node module to the GitLab remote repo. By running npm install, you will have the same environment to work on your project. All right? Let me have a look at online questions. Ooh. Do you have to run? The question is, in my last demo, I ran the npm install date function before I ran npm init. The question is, do I need to run npm install date function before I run npm init to get everything in the node module? The answer is no. You can run npm init first and then install more modules. So for example, now here, I've already set up the environment, like I've already run npm init. So if I want to install more packages, I can still do that after I run npm install. So let's have a look. For example, random search, this random. I can still copy this install script, come back to my project, npm run and render. You can see that it still works. So after you run npm init, after you have set up the npm project, you can add more packages to it by running npm install the package name. Now I have installed this random package, and when you check this node module, you can see that there's one more folder added for you called random, or two folders, random and seed random. So these modules are set up by running npm install random. And now you can use the functions, the methods in the random package. So this is how we can build on other people's work. So we do not need to write everything from scratch. And you can also be on the same page, like same environment with your team members working on the same project. Yeah. Another thing that we will use in the future when we have some testing and others is by editing this package.json file, and you can add some script. So for example, this is a default script. When we run npm init, it will create it for you, like script test and echo error not test specify. What is it? Okay, I will show you, and so you can get an understanding of what is that and how to use it. So what we can do is by running npm run and then test, it will say error no test specified. So this is kind of a script that you can define. So for example, git branch. So git branch is a command defined by git, right? npm install is defined by npm. So they define the script that you need to run on the command line, and they will do something for you. But npm run test is something that you can define. So for example, I can define another one. I can say Yuchao. It will print out something like hi, I'm Yuchao, and then I can run npm run Yuchao. It will print like hi, I'm Yuchao. And you can even have more powerful functions, for example date, and it can run date, and you can have date.js. Should I do this? I think so, if I remember correctly. Oh, sorry, I need to change it to date. Command not found. I forgot what I should do here. But the point is that we can define our own script so that we can run the function or run the file that we want. Oh, sorry, it should be node.js. Sorry, node date.js. Is that right? Okay. Yes, so you can see that you can define your own script to run. So when I say npm run date, it will run node.js. So the script is defined by you, but I can change it to whatever I want. I can change it to comp1531, but still do the same. Change it comp1531. You can see that it will still run this node.js command. So you can define your own script. So this is useful when we start to learning about testing. So you can define your test script by editing the scripts here in the package.json file. Yep. No question from online. Cool. Do you have any question before we move on? No? All good? Yeah, let's go back to our slides. Oh, so when you are looking at the npm packages, the libraries, you may wonder, like there, for example, for random, there will be a lot of packages about random. So in addition to looking at their descriptions, like what they can do, you may also look at other data. So for example, their weekly downloads. So in a week, how many people have downloaded or installed this package? So you can get an idea of how popular, how trustable it might be. Right, so there are some information. So for example, this one, like a lot of people use these packages or install this package in the weekly. The license and the last published, their collaborators. Yeah. And they are for free. So I saw some packages they ask for donation. So you can donate for their work, but otherwise it's free. Is the slide clear to you? I saw people asking to turn off the light. Maybe I'll do it next lecture. I will figure out how to do it. Does that work? No. Room light? Is that better? Oh, sleepy. Okay, so let's go back to our slides. So we have already covered these. We've covered npm install. Okay, now code runs successfully. So this is what's installed when we run npm init. Like we get new package.json file, package log.json file, and the modules. We have already covered these. Yeah, custom scripts we have already covered. Yeah, cool. So this is everything about the packages.